I've seen a lot of videos of people be like DIY, do it yourself, and with new with new technology like PEX, a lot of people be like, oh, we could just do it yourself and you don't have to hire a plumber. And the question is it cheaper to do it yourself or just to hire someone? And I'll tell you, it's not cheaper to do it yourself. And I'll explain why. Because every time we don't make money, it's because when we focus and do something beside plumbing. For example, drywall. Like, let's say we break a hole, and then there's a giant hole now because we needed to make the hole to get back in the plumbing, to reach the plumbing, and now the customer's like, hey, can you fix it? And every time I tell the customer, yeah, we could do it, I never end up making money. Why? Because then I always have to buy a tool, and all my profits get wiped out with tools. For example, also, like, I carry a bunch of plumbing materials, so I have spare parts, whether it's 1 foot of 3/4 pipe. Sometimes we need 4 or 5 inches of 3/4 pipe. But if I don't have 4 or 5 inches of 3/4 pipe, then I will have to buy a 10-footer stick or the 3-footer stick they sell at Home Depot. Either way, I still got to spend that money. And that's what happens when you try to do stuff like drywall. A drywall guy that does just drywall probably has a little square to be able to fix and repair that. But since I don't, I got to go to the store and buy it. So, like, that's not to mention, not only do you have to buy all the tools to do this, and which is going to cost a fortune, you also have to buy all these things. Like, this is like 30-40 bucks. And obviously, there's been times where I have to go and buy stuff like this. And for me, it makes sense, because I use them repeatedly. For you, if a person just buys it and it uses one time, you use it one time for just one job, it doesn't really make sense. And it's called economy of scale, right? The more you do something, the cheaper it gets to produce. And I know you guys are, with the tariffs and stuff, everyone is probably like joking around, but I got in 3 emails already from my suppliers saying that, hey, we don't know what's going on, but shit could double, triple, I don't know. No one knows. It could be a joke. It couldn't be a joke, but, and I'm saying that because right now I'm upping my prices, and it's not because I was like, well, I'm just too busy. Like right now, I'm 2 weeks out. Like I can't even get to you right now. Like literally, like my schedule this whole week, this Monday through Friday is already booked, and then the following week is already on. Someone's already on the schedule. So right now we have 2 weeks in the book, so I'm like 3 weeks out. And just so, okay, so now if you do want me to get over there, it's probably going to be after an 8-hour shift. So it's going to be on overtime. The vehicles are running more. You're doing more wear and tear in your vehicles. There's a bunch of stuff that I take into account. So yeah, we could go and service you, but it's going to be way more expensive because we literally don't have time to service you. And okay, and you're like, well, why don't you just hire more people? Well, as you guys know, there's no one wants to be a plumber. If you look at the data, for every 4 plumbers that are retiring, only 1 is joining the industry. And then you got to keep in mind that one person that's joining, it's not like he has those 20 years of experience. And I know this firsthand because I've been doing this for 10 years. I know what's going on in the industry. Right now, the biggest thing is manpower. Whoever has the manpower could do the jobs. And even me, I'm rejecting bids. There's jobs that I cannot do, because there's like even though I know how to do commercial and I could do it, I just don't have the manpower or the capital to fund those projects, which would be profitable. But right now, they'll kill me. Because then I would have to pay 15-20 grand a week in payroll. I just can't. And so imagine those bigger companies that are trying to expand. So everyone is like capped out right now. And like I said, even when I do give out bids at the moment, I'm like doubling, tripling my price. Because even if it's called supply and demand, right? For me to service these customers, I would need to buy another vehicle. If I buy another vehicle, then I would have to buy all these tools that cost $20,000-$30,000 of tools. So now, like I said, we're looking at $100,000 just to be able to service one more customer. And that's what people don't understand. And they're like, And like I said, it's not, you don't want to turn away those customers, so you give them a price. And let's say you do somehow, like, there's, and what's going on in the industry is, it's weird, because you're like, well, what happens if people can't afford to pay you and you guys are scamming? It's not that we're scamming. It's just that it's supply and demand, and there's not enough plumbers. Even the handyman, everyone is just scheduled. Everyone's booked. Even if you're cheap and people find out about you, then they call you and then they get booked. So it's a we're working. We've been working, like, today's my only day off, like, in 3 weeks, and it feels like it's the only day I decided to, like, say no. And I feel weird because it's been like 3 weeks of not working, and I'm like, fuck, I need to work. And I'm already making TikToks, which means that I'm already tripping out. I'm like, I need to do something. But me relaxing is a very weird thing. And like, so what happens when people can't afford plumbing? So I'll tell you what happens, because I've been there. You got to keep in mind, water heaters used to be like $500-$600, like 3-4, like pre-COVID, so 4 or 5 years ago. Now they're running like $800 to $900 on average. So even before I even give my labor costs, the people don't even have the $1,000 to pay for the water heater. And I'm saying water heaters because they're so fucking simple to replace them. You just need a strong male to lift that up, or a woman, whatever, to lift that 100 pounds and take it off. And it's just 2-3 connections. It's not that hard. And your neighbor could do it, and anyone with basic knowledge YouTube could take off their water heater. So even when we do stuff for free, some people can't afford to even change the water heater because they can't even purchase the water heater. And I bought a water heater for a family member because they couldn't even afford to replace the water heater. Not only did I charge zero, I lost money because it just sucks. And it's like, fuck, like, I'm a plumber and I'm willing to help you do plumbing, but the fact that I have to also provide the material for you, that's how desperate times are. And I know people probably don't believe that. So what happens when people can't afford the plumber? Some people right now just choose not to use hot water, or depending how it works, or there's a constant leak, and there's people living in the dark ages. And like I said, that's why we're gonna do a whole house repipe a week from now, and it's on those books. But yeah, some people are just living with plumbing issues because they can't afford to fix it. And even if they got volunteered, like I said, I believe in karma, so I'm willing to help someone out. But if I'm also gonna give away my the material, I'm not a millionaire. I'm not that rich, so I can't afford. Like, I'll help someone out because I believe, like, and the universe will always give it back to me somehow. But I'm also not, I'm not Mr. Beast, what I'm trying to say. I can't just go to people and be like, you get free plumbing, you get free plumbing. I'm like, yeah, I'll help you out. And it's a horrible situation, but if I had to also buy the material, I'm like, dude, I there's no way I could help you. And especially right now, even when people want me to help, I was like, dude, 2 weeks out right now. Like, there's nothing I could do. And I need to buy more stuff like this, which costs, this is probably like $800 worth of just whole sauce. So it's weird to say this. It's weird right now, especially with the tariffs was going to happen. Because even at this moment, I'm 2 weeks out. And I don't know how people could afford plumbers in the near future. Because even right now, most of them can't afford. And it's just weird times. But my job is, it's weird to say, is actually to keep my price down, which is efficiency, right? Because right now this is the best time, because it's you get people that were charging crazy amount, they're not gonna be able to charge even another 30-40%. So let's say if they're charging 1,000, they're not gonna be able to charge 1,500 because they're gonna be like, what the hell? And let's say the material jumped, they're gonna start, their profits are gonna go from 30-40% to 10-15%. And they're not gonna be happy, or they're gonna be like, I'm not gonna work, and then people are gonna be like, fuck it, I'm not gonna fix my plumbing. So this is the best time to show who's gonna survive this.